Today, I'm joined by Mark Steiner, co-founder and CEO of GigSalad, the marketplace that has connected over 4 million event planners with entertainers and service providers. His path started in acting and talent representation, helping creatives find opportunity. Adopted at birth and later diagnosed with ADHD, he leads through empathy, intuition, and emotional intelligence.
Was the worst year for a lot of us for our mental as well as physical health. So joining us this morning is best-selling author, coach Lisa Goldenthal.
Hello and welcome. I'm Lisa G, your host. You're at the top of your game, yet the game is changing faster than ever. Strategies that got you here aren't the ones that'll keep you here. The pressure is relentless, and the fear of obsolescence looms large. That's why I'm here. Welcome to the new podcast series, Disrupted: How to Be Gritty and Unlock Performance in Business, Mindset, Wellness, and Success to help you master disruption. Thanks for coming, and I'll see you soon. Welcome back to the show. We're going to talk about the human advantage in an AI world today. AI can automate tasks. It can not automate identity. Today, I'm joined by Mark Steiner, co-founder and CEO of GigSalad, the marketplace that has connected over 4 million event planners with entertainers and service providers. His path started in acting and talent representation, helping creatives find opportunity. Adopted at birth and later diagnosed with ADHD, he leads through empathy, intuition, and emotional intelligence, and believes business should be meaningful, not transactional. Let's talk about
Thanks.
why humanity still wins. Mark, welcome to the
Okay.
show.
Thanks for having me, Lisa.
Well,
Really
I
nice to
love
be.
this topic. I mean, everybody's so excited about AI, but it still needs the human touch. And in a tech-driven world, why does connection still outperform automation?
Oh, well, I mean, it's existence, right? I mean, we as humans need we need love, we need touch, we need intimacy, we need purpose, we need, value. We need things that in my opinion, a computer will never be able to, artificial intelligence will never be able to mimic to that level or degree. Communication, yes. Um, provide information, yes. Be able to mimic humans, yes. But not the heart and soul of that's it. Soul.
Soul.
Soul. Artificial intelligence will never have a soul, and we have souls, and that's what
I
I believe.
love that. I
Yeah.
love that answer. So ChatGPT is like my friend and my assistant, but it doesn't have a soul and it's a suck
Correct.
up. It's always like telling me how great I am.
That's great. Well, you've been feeding it the right information. Are you polite to your
I
chat?
feel so important to say please and thank you.
I do too. Yeah, yeah. I
Really?
tried. Oh yeah. I think in that case, like if I'm going to have something mimicking me, I want to make sure that it gets the most authentic version of myself. And if I take shortcuts when I'm using ChatGPT, well, then it's not going to get the entire version of myself, And so, yeah, please and thank you, and thus I get please and thank you back, and politeness and courtesy, and yeah,
And better outputs too, I believe.
I believe so too. Yeah, I mean, I let's face it, it can only give us back what we give it. And if if we want to live a gruff life, a rude life, a short life, being short, and you know, I I just don't have any interest in that. So
Well, good. Well, I totally agree. Where are leaders over optimizing systems and under investing in trust?
that's though that's a That's a deep question. As it relates to AI, are we still talking about, yeah,
Yeah, technology in
technology?
general.
Well, I, t- speaking in regards to GigSalad and as a marketplace, we have been very fortunate from our inception that we have always come up very high in organic search. And as AI has now, as people are using, they're not using Google search as much as they used to. I'm hearing, you know, the statistics are it's down 30%, and that's probably and that's only going to increase where people are getting their information by just asking, asking as opposed to going in and doing a search on Google, right? And so we have had to be very deliberate and intentional in trying to make sure that we can mitigate that loss of search. Now, we still come up high in the search. There's just less
Yeah,
people doing it.
yeah,
So we're trying to figure out how can we both utilize AI internally with our team. So I encourage every one of our team members spend a little bit of time every day practicing using, just getting familiar with all the various AI platforms.
right.
And then in particular, try to come back with ways that you think it can enhance your job. You're not going to, I promise you, you're not going to lose your job to AI. Uh,
Yeah,
the best anecdote I ever heard about that is don't be afraid of losing your job to AI, but do be afraid of losing your job to somebody who knows AI that does your job. Yeah. And
100%. Yeah,
yeah, and so we just have to um, make sure that we at least are leaning into this and not ignoring it as if it's going to go away. Or in my case, being a little late in my midlife, I'm going to be 60 in March, and
that's
there's
not old.
that's what it's not old at all. I don't think so at all. However, I definitely have contemporaries of mine who are saying, what's the point? Like, how am I, I'm get people that are getting out of the workforce
Right.
and they're going to retire and they're going to go play golf and they're going to do what this and that, right? They're going to travel. What do I need to know for AI? And, no, it's silly to think that way because it is going to have impacts on our lives that we can't possibly imagine. It's intense. And so that's how we are applying AI. We're asking our team to apply it internally to help them do their job. We're trying to figure out the tools and resources that will best accommodate our clients, both the event planners that come to us and the members that we have, the entertainers
Right.
and performers and speakers and et cetera. And so but I'm new at it and I'm not a tech guy. I just happen to stumble into running a tech company. But I have a really trusted team that's doing the heavy lifting on this stuff.
Well, I love the way that you're still focusing on leadership with soul. So, how has this
Yes.
adoption like shaped your leadership lens in any way?
Well, I'll tell you, well, it just happened to have, we posted on LinkedIn this morning a little story I told, and I was at South by Southwest 10 years ago with my two partners at the time, my co-founder and our first employee that we gave some equity to as our first developer. And we were watching a CEO being interviewed by a Wall Street Journal journalist. And they were both very smart, as you can imagine. I think one of them went to, I think the tech CEO, founder, what probably went to Stanford or some Ivy, and just super smart and able to talk the tech language. And I started to feel really, really inferior. I was crumbling in my seat, frankly. Like I just thought, I I am so not that guy. And I said to my and we were, mind you, we were at this point, well, 10 years in from our beta stage. Our official
Yeah,
launch was in seven. Let's call it was 2015 or 16. We were well into business and we were doing very well. We've always done really well. But I started to second guess myself as I saw this person that was, just on a different intellectual level, it seemed, and probably had an MBA and, all this stuff
right.
that I didn't have. And I discovered emotional intelligence as is the moral to the story. I went and read Daniel Goleman's book and realized, okay, so there's a name for me. There's a label for me and how I've done this, just sort of naturally and organically. And it's based on human connection for me. It's about empathy. It's about my social skills. It's about my desire to build a great culture, and the culture being of connection and friendship and values and the things that are totally different from the other side, from that type of CEO. And the thing I'll tell you, and you could ask anybody on the team, is that we have a soul. There's a essence to Gig Salad that is, transcends business. We have an ecosystem. We work really well. We do business good, but the part that's great about it is that we're connected and we're connecting people. The very business that we're in is we're a part of people's life's events, and some of the best memories that people will ever have. We're at the weddings, we're at the funerals, we're at the birth announcements, we're at the first birthdays and the anniversaries and the corporate events, and on and on and on. And we're there for really special things. And that, if you approach that in a sheer business, it's about profit, and took the more tangible part of it out, which is, like I said, it's about love. It's about the meaning of life to me. Let's put it
Yeah.
this way: peace, love, and gigs. That's our slogan, and that is all you need to know about our business.
Well,
Place with peace, love, and gigs. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
peace, love, and gigs. I love it. I love it comes across, just in having a conversation with you. And that's why you're successful. Like to me, the emotional intelligence piece is missing in so many leaders in disruptive times. We all get disrupted
Right,
and we've all been disrupted. So it's
right.
it's like that's when your leadership is really tested and it just comes across that you know how to talk to people and people are going to stay engaged and want to work for you because of that.
Well, thank you. I think so. We have a really loyal team. The most recent person that left was with us for 13 years, and they left because they wanted to go to, I don't know if it was seminary, but they just had a complete calling.
Oh
They're
my
gonna
gosh,
they're
that's
gonna go
pretty,
and go do
yeah.
God's work.
Can't
And
compete
so
with God.
I know exactly. I thought, yeah, okay, if you're gonna go, if you're gonna go work for somebody else, I'd go do it with God, But
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful.
yeah.
It really comes across. And how, jumping to another topic, how did your ADHD diagnosis shift how you operate as a CEO? Because I think a lot of us, entrepreneur types feel like we have ADD to a certain extent with all the different things pulling at us all of the time.
Yeah. Well, that diagnosis only came 3 years ago. I'm about 2.5 years ago, fall of 23. And so when I had that experience sitting next to my partners, there was that was going on too. There was this just total neurodivergent sort of train wreck going on in my brain,
Yeah.
um, which leads to rumination and then fear and just all this stuff. And I I always knew I was special. There was something
Oh, me
wrong. There
too.
was something
I,
sort of off, right?
yeah,
um, and I explored some different things. Like I thought, oh, was it dyslexia? Was that why I wasn't a good student? Or very. And my daughter is where this all came from. She got diagnosed while she was in law school,
right.
and she told me the symptoms. She was telling me about the symptoms. I was like, yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah,
Okay, because that's been me my entire life. So I'm 57 or something when I get this diagnosis. And the big question at that point was, what am I going to do with this? Like I got screened. I immediately had the opportunity to do I need to medicate? Do I need to treat this? And I thought I it is a common thing for founders, and I've heard that this is that ability to multitask and to spin many plates and juggle many balls, all of that. And I thought, I've gotten this far in life, everything's good. But I found myself being busier, not found myself. I was very intentional about uh, not slowing down. And I went from about 5 years of where I was sort of chilled. After I became an empty nester in 20, I was just sort of, doing the gig salad thing, but not needing to do. I had a more independence and freedom, let's put it that way. And I was traveling a lot, having fun, visiting my children in the various locations they were, um, and then I found myself wanting to do more meaningful things again. Like I wanted to be creative, and at that point, I said, well, maybe, just maybe, because I should maybe have something. Maybe I should see what it's like to be medicated. And I tried it, and I decided I didn't need it. I just hacked my way through. If I started to feel distracted about something, just will myself to not be distracted. And I was able to do that. I accomplished that. I was able to focus on things. Of course, hyperfixation is a big part of this, but uh, losing focus can also be a thing. And I just said, I will focus on the task at hand. And I had many tasks at hand. And I figured out how to deal with rumination. And I'm currently I don't take any supplements, no stimulants. um I I happen to also have stopped out drinking alcohol before I got that diagnosis in 23.
wow.
I think that had a big part of my um being a little more clear minded when I got the diagnosis, and then being able to my process how I think about things and how I coped prior in my life. And
Right.
alcohol played a role in that. Different things played roles in that. And so the short answer, Lisa, I'm sorry, this thing I've not been able to control, where I just go off on tangents and 1,000 thoughts. The short answer is I have figured out how to accept myself for how I am. I may apologize or at least explain up front, this is what you need to know about me. I'm aware of it too, and I'm doing my best. But other than that, I have never been more productive. I've never been more happy and content in my life. It's amazing. Like I said, I'll be 60 at March 10th, and I've got more things going on and more things I'm looking forward to. Um, life is good. Life is good with my ADHD and with everything else about me. So
Well, I appreciate your vulnerable shares and being honest and open the way that you are. It makes you easy to talk to.
thanks,
Um,
Lisa.
so what are the shifts in the second half of leadership and anything different now?
I just hired an assistant. I added an assistant to the team, and that saying, even though I was keeping the plates spinning, I was remarkably keeping all the balls in the air. I was even surprising myself. I wasn't missing deadlines. I didn't keep people waiting, on and on. I was doing really well. However, I realized um, I could do a lot better with some help. And I said help, and um, I think I found a unicorn in this helper. She's really exceptional. Um, and just to be able to delegate projects and for me to not feel like I need to do everything, recognizing the things I absolutely shouldn't be doing. It's not the best use of my time. So that was great. I've never been a micromanager to begin with, but I think what's really been key is we don't have any fluff at GigSalad anymore. There's no fat, as they say, where, and I only blame myself, where I've hired lots of people in the past, hoping for the best, huge inflated marketing department that I didn't know entirely who was doing what, but I just thought
Right.
we must be getting stuff done. And through attrition and through some other series of events and circumstances, in 2018, we nearly halved our company size at one point, and we subsequently got more done than ever. We became more productive,
I love
and
it.
the growth was exponential, and it felt really good because there was a point, I think, in some ways maybe there was some ego involved. It was like, oh, I get some validation from the fact that I keep a lot of people employed. It was just a silly thing, but it was like,
Right.
but I'm also our company could afford to do it. So that's, it was sort of a, in some ways it was kind of this cart before the horse. Like, I added all these people hoping for the best and then realized we didn't need all those people. And now we have this really streamlined company, and I have the best people doing the best stuff. The old, the right, I have the right amount of people on the bus. They're all sitting in the right seats,
Yeah,
and I'm able to do what I do. It's very easy. I think it's the way business is supposed to be. There's not a lot of no stress for anybody. It really is a place to work where everybody, um, not to say that we don't work hard, but it should never be stressful.
I love
Yeah.
it. Everyone should be like that. Okay, final question.
Yes.
The final question. All right, the leaders who win in the next decade will be the ones who fill in the blank.
Oh, our kind. I hope kindness wins. That's if I have it my way, if I do my part, I am I am trying to set an example as I do podcasts like this. And by the way, thank you for even considering me worthy to be on, Lisa. Seriously, I without apology just talk about the thing that is I care the most about, and it really, as I said, it's about uh, our humanity and loving people and doing what is right, and being kind and not being judgmental and not being critical, just coming from a place of optimism and hope and never letting that go. Being truth, integrity, honesty, like those sorts of values and morals, I think is what I hope we can get to. Yeah, I don't want to say that nobody does that now, because that's not true. Obviously there's people that are, like, live their lives that way. But I think in business, I think the more we pay attention to it, and this generation, I hope my children have that expectation of the people that they do business with, where they shop. There's some moral standards, that sort of thing. So uh that's me. That's what I would say.
Great answer. You couldn't have done a better job. It was so much fun talking to you. Where can people find Mark and Gig Salad?
Well, Gig Salad right now, gigsalad.com, but on March 10th, my website is going to launch. This is the first place I'm saying this, Lisa. So I'm not sure when
I
this is
feel
going to come
so
out.
special knowing this.
I've not said this is it. On my birthday, my website is supposed to launch, and it's thinkupon.com, and it'll be a place where all my Mark Steiner stuff is housed. my podcast, the podcast that I'm interviewed on, blog posts, et cetera. And that's the place. So when we currently have two co-hosts that I do a podcast with, but when I have a guest, Lisa,
Yeah.
I need this reciprocated. I need you to
I'm
come be on the
happy
opposite
to do
side.
so. I do everything as a joint venture in life because you never know, like, where am I in Pacific Northwest and the middle of nowhere going to meet Mark Steiner?
Exactly. Absolutely.
Right. And Springfield, it just wouldn't happen. So I really enjoy this kind of joint venture. So Mark at GigSalad and marksteiner.com, pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Thanks, Lisa.